Hey there, it's Maury. Welcome back. You may or may not know that I am in the middle of building out a Sprinter cargo van as my traveling van, my RV. And a lot of the stuff that I do, I just kind of give you an overview of what I've done. And then there's a few things that I feel are very important. And this is something that if you're in the middle of or you're considering building out a Sprinter van or possibly other manufacturers as well. I don't have one to look at, but this is something that might be of interest to you. And as the title indicated, we're talking about waterproofing the van itself. We'll just go out here and look at the van for a minute. So the Sprinter cargo vans come basically empty. They have a couple of panels on the sliding door and the back doors, but generally speaking, the inside is pretty empty. So you have good visibility into the interior of the van. On the outside of the van, you have these protective panels, and they go all the way down the length of the van. These are known to leak, and I'll show you why. So these are held on with some clips that go into these holes into the cavity of the door or the body panels. The thing is, the clips that they use aren't watertight. They're plastic, and they kind of press against the sheet metal, but it's not sealed. And so what ends up happening is you'll notice, and this is something you'll want to take a look at your own van and see, you'll notice these streaks. This is where the water is seeping in, and then the dirt that's on the outside of the van comes in with it. So the goal here is to seal those clips so that this doesn't happen. I also have a spot up here that I need to deal with where the handle, this is the inside of the door, and that's the handle to open it. One of the penetration points is doing the same thing. Now, I haven't actually seen any water when it's raining, although I did have the door panel on this, which is why I even noticed it to begin with. Because if you look, you can see down here, it was soaking this panel quite a bit. So it was coming down through this hole onto the frame of the door. Normally, it doesn't matter. You know, this is a design that the water comes in and then it drains out. But for someone like me or you're planning on putting insulation in these spaces, which means you don't want it to be leaking and soaking the insulation and causing problems. Those exterior trim panels come off really easy. You'll want to make sure to use a vinyl trim tool. Don't use a screwdriver or a pry bar or anything like that, because you're going to dent and scratch the paint on the outside. But you'll want to get this in. It has to be one of these fairly thick ones so that it's got some strength to it. You'll get this in behind the panel and pop the clip off. Most of the time, and there are tutorials online about doing this as well, but most of the time the clip will just come right out with the panel. Sometimes it'll leave itself in the door panel, and then you can come out, if you have access to the back side of it like the door here, you can just pop the clip out. Otherwise, you can pull the clip out from the outside using a pair of needle nose pliers or something to press the tabs to get it to come out. This is what the panel looks like from the back side with all of the clips in it. I've already cleaned these and popped them back in place. You want to make sure that you clean the mating surface of these clips. This is the part that you're going to put Dicor on, and then it's also the part that's going to be in contact with the van sheet metal. So you'll also want to make sure you clean very thoroughly the paint on the side of the van. But any place where there's a penetration, you'll want to put some Dicor, and then this will go back on and just pop itself into place. You can use your hand, these go in pretty easy, or you can use a rubber mallet. Just put a towel or a washcloth or something over the top of this just to keep from scratching it up when you're pounding it in. But they do go in pretty easy. You can see I've already cleaned this panel. It was pretty filthy when I pulled it off, and I'm just using some alcohol to finish the cleaning of the surface, just to make sure there's no oil or or anything on there that's going to keep the Dicor from making good contact. And then I will do the same on the panel, and then I'll put the Dicor on the clips themselves and push this in. And then I have to figure out how to remove this handle so that I can seal behind the penetration point, because this is where the leaking is coming from. And then I'll just seal this side as well, but I have to figure out how to get that out. Seems like there might be a cap there. I know that there's a screw behind that, but I don't know how I get to it. I'll have to look that up. So you can see here I'm using Dicor non-leveling, and that's because I don't want it to run very easily. And I'm going to apply it to each of these clips. I mentioned before that these clips come out usually pretty easy. In the event that you break one, they are replaceable, obviously, and you can pick up some replacements on Amazon. I bought a package ahead of time just in case, because I knew I was going to be doing this and wanted to have them on hand in the event that something went wrong. But I'm going to apply the Dicor to each of these clips, and also this particular panel has a screw on each end. This is on the sliding door, and I'll apply some to that as well. But this should go together pretty quickly, and it's okay if you use, you know, a little more than what you would think, because you want it to go through the hole as well and seal it. And I'm using Dicor instead of acrylic or anything like that, so that it is removable later fairly easily in the event that you need to. So I'm going to get started on this and I'll show you how it turns out. All right, here we are with the Dicor on the clips. Not pretty, but functional. Remember, the goal here is to provide a watertight seal and to not have to do this again. So having enough Dicor on here will squeeze it around the clip and make sure that it makes a proper seal. I did use butyl tape on a different panel that I did a couple of weeks ago, and that just made it too difficult because it's too thick and it's too hard, because these are pressure fit. It's just too hard to get it to go into place correctly. I had to spend a lot of time and warm it up to do that. So the Dicor is definitely a better option. So now we're going to go out here and line the panel up into the appropriate locations. If I can do this one-handed. Okay, and you can hear those clips going into place. And like I said, you can come back with a mallet or something to make sure that they're all in. And you want to make sure that it's seated properly before the Dicor dries. See, we just got one clip there. There's another one. Now we'll come inside here and attach the screws. There's one screw here. You can see how the Dicor poked through the hole, which is what we wanted. And we'll do the same to the other side. Now let's go inside here. See. So you can see the clips are all poking through. There's a little bit of Dicor that's coming through with it. That's good. Once I'm going to go over this one more time on the outside, and then I'll come in and I'll clean these streaks so that when it rains again I can see if there's anything coming through. And then at that point, if I have to, I can seal it from the inside. And then I still have to worry about the door handle up here. So that's it for now. Just a quick tip for anybody that's building out one of these vans. Since the thing is empty, you have easy access to all of the walls inside, and you can see if there's any leakage happening already. You know, this is a known problem, and it might be something that you just want to do anyway, since you're going to be insulating the walls. Otherwise, you may end up with a problem that you're not ready for. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them in the space below. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'll leave a link below to the Dicor that I used and the clips that you can buy in case you break one. And until next time, have a great day.